Welcome back to my face. My name is Brianna. I'm the head honcho here at Bamby Media. Today we're talking about going pro. Inspiration for this podcast episode has come from a podcast that I was listening to, Modern Wisdom. The host, Chris, was talking about how he didn't get serious with his podcast until he decided that he was going to go pro with it. And what does going pro actually mean? Well, it means devoting time, energy, money into things that you wouldn't normally devote to. Just think about a professional athlete for a moment. When they're going pro, when they're going to hit the big leagues, do they do that all by themselves? Do they just spend no time or money or energy doing it? No, they don't. They spend a buttload of time getting better, and they have coaches that help them with specific things, and they do a bunch of research into what they need to do. I can tell you a story. Since I was 5 years old, I wanted to be a singer. As I grew, that became a stronger mission for me. And once I had decided that this was something I really wanted to do, it was like I had blinders on. There was nothing else that really mattered. Granted, I lived at this time with my parents. I could devote as much time and energy as I wanted into it because I didn't have a bunch of other responsibilities coming at me. You know, I was young and I could just do it by myself. So going pro for me meant lots of singing lessons, lots of practice, lots of standing in front of a mirror and watching myself, looking at how my face changed when I sang different words. I would record myself using a tape player back then. And then later I would listen back to what I had done during my singing lessons so that I could understand where I could improve. Going pro meant having a coach, a teacher who could help me get better at my craft and pick up things that I just didn't know about. You don't know what you don't know. If you're trying to do it all by yourself, then you're only going to get to a certain level. You're only going to get to a certain point. So I want you to think about your podcast in the same way. If you're trying to get a better result, what are you putting in that's different to what you're doing now? And are you hoping for a different result without really changing much? At some point, at some level, in any creative pursuit, and I would argue most pursuits, you have to develop further. I had dedicated singing lessons for 10 years, a decade of learning to sing with different coaches, different teachers. And once I was finished with one, I had developed a really good skill in classical voice. Then I would go, okay, I probably don't need to know as much about that now. I want to incorporate some more jazz or Broadway style. And then we went and found a teacher that was really good at that so that I could develop that area and then bring those combination of things together and mold it into what I actually wanted to be, how I actually wanted to sound and how I wanted to represent my unique voice. So that was a decade of pursuit of mastery that I went on. And then after that, I went into musical theatre. So I was learning again different skills that I could pile onto there. And all this time, from the age of about 12, I started songwriting. And I would record myself with these songs and then listen back to them and then change things and then change the lyrics and change the way that melody went. And I would add harmonies and I would put different things in. I was thinking about it all the time. And how that then manifested later on was I went on to do some incredible things as a musician. I had songs featured on NBC, on Foxtel, an Adidas campaign. I won different awards. I got a professional development grant with Warner Music. And on top of that, I also went on to Australian Idol. And I got into the top 12 of that crazy reality program as well. All from that mastery, that going pro, that laser focus, those blinders that I had on to go, this is what my focus is. This is what I want to do. I also went on to do a degree at the Conservatorium of Music and then recorded 2 albums. All this time working with different people, collaborating with different people, going pro. Ultimately for me, what happened was I fell out of love a bit with the process of live performance and I had a child and I didn't want to do that anymore. And again, then I came back to my focus of okay, if I don't want to be a professional touring musician anymore, how can I use the skills that I already have to go pro in something else? And that's when the love of podcasting really began for me, because I already had an audio production degree. I was already a really good storyteller and songwriter from all those years of professional development in that place. And it felt like a very good fit for me to jump into the podcasting space because it was still telling stories in an audio format and being creative in the process. So I want you to think about that from a podcasting point of view. If you're devoted to this as a medium, if this is part of your marketing, part of your business, part of your professional career to have a podcast, what are you doing to up-level those skills? Are you learning how to interview better? Do you have a speech coach? Do you have someone helping you craft content? Or someone you can bounce ideas off with your content that isn't just someone that works in your business that doesn't have those skills anyway, and you're all just kind of shooting in the dark? Have you bought a better webcam? Have you got a decent microphone? Have you got some lights? You know, I'm nowhere near done with what I'm doing here and the level of complexity and the level of things that I want to pile onto this, even just our own podcast. What's the one thing that you can end the year with for 2023 that you think will really help you in your podcasting journey for next year? Maybe that's strategic coaching with me here at Bamby Media to get a bit more of that VIP experience. But also, the last thing I want to say is that no matter who you engage to help you with this next phase of what you're doing, you must be able to take their criticisms, to take their constructive feedback and learn from it and implement. You've got to swallow the ego that maybe you've developed at this point. They're the one that knows this. I'm engaging this person. I'm paying this person money to help me go pro. So I'm going to listen to what they say and I'm going to implement what they're asking me to implement. You don't want a yes man. You want someone that picks you apart. And I've had that the whole way through my professional development as a musician and then into podcasting as well, learning from different people that already have skills in the area to develop my skills and allow constructive feedback. But don't listen to people that don't know what they're talking about because what they're going to give you isn't really valuable feedback. They can give you an emotional response. They can tell you about how something feels for them. But the actual nitty-gritty of what it is that you're trying to do, trying to develop, needs to be someone that knows what they're talking about, that has been where you are or has trained or coached people from where you are. They're the people that you listen to. So when you've decided, I'm going to go pro in podcasting, whatever it is, it doesn't need to be podcasting, but I'm talking about podcasting because this is a podcasting show. When you decide you're going to go pro, what are you putting in place to go pro?